Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm the inspirational Andy Murray from WhatCulture. And remember, never mish with another man's mosh.
And back by popular demand, we mess around. I play the fool. But I've got a story for you about the wildcard rule.
Adam, what the hell are you doing?
The rhyming introduction to the news. People bloody love it in the comments. Well, some of them.
Well,
have a think, okay. I keep bees. They live in a hive. And I've got a story for you about when KENTA was on 205 Live. Come on, you do one.
I'm going to tell you why Rusev hasn't been on TV lately.
Think of a better one for the next one, okay? As MJ said, it doesn't matter if you're white or black, but are a famous female superstar team coming back?
Go on then. Him
Yes!
and New Japan Pro Wrestling are in a tiff. Here's the latest on Davey Boy Smith.
This is the news!
We're going to kick things off with a little stiggy Stomping Grounds, the most anticipated pay-per-view of all time, with not a single rematch in sight. Anyway, the main event of that show is currently expected to be Baron Corbin versus Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. In this match, obviously, there will be a special guest referee. Now, WWE had promised that Corbin would name that referee on Monday Night Raw this week, but obviously that didn't happen.
WWE going back on their promises.
I'm doing a bait and switch. That's very unlike them. Basically, Baron spent the whole night trying to name all these dorks as referee. There was Elias, there was EC3, and there was Eric Young towards the end there, and Seth Rollins murdered them all with chairs. Then the B team showed an interest in doing it on SmackDown, and they died as well. So, what's happening here is that according to Shiggity Shagger Dave of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, the mystery referee heading in to Stomping Grounds is going to be a mystery. WWE have deliberately held back on announcing who this is because they want it to be a big surprise on the night, and they want to presumably encourage interest and ticket sales. We saw how poor those were the other week for an event that really doesn't have a particularly high interest level. So, smart tactic, or was the bait and switch just kind of annoying?
It was annoying, but it does leave us wide open for speculation. I mean, a lot of people obviously saying Brock Lesnar might be the special guest referee. I suggested on a podcast yesterday, Triple H. Ooh. Triple H, as an authority figure above Baron Corbin, who's got a history with Seth Rollins, could make things interesting. And also, you kind of don't really know what characters Triple H is playing right now.
Yeah.
Heel or face, he just sort of oscillates
Clicks
between the two.
his fingers and does what he wants, creator or destroyer.
But it could just be, I don't know, Baron Corbin's best mate, Barry Corbin.
Gangrel, maybe? Yeah.
It could be anyone. Speculate in the comment section below who you think the special guest referee is.
Corbin.
Because you never know, let's be honest. Right, let's move on and talk about the brilliant wildcard rule. Yeah. Kevin Owens has been talking about it on a recent Sporting News interview and sort of summing up how all the wrestlers and kind of how we feel about it. He said the wildcard rule itself was very loosely defined when it was first announced, and it's been loosely enforced since it's been announced. Laughs. Ha ha ha. I guess that's the sort of nervous laugh where he knows he could be.
Lol out loud.
Yeah, I think that's the point where he realises Vince might have a go at him, so he's just like, ha ha ha.
Better change my tone, brother.
I guess it was supposed to be 4 guys at first, and now really it's 10 guys show up one night, 3 guys show up the next night, whatever. But like I said, I think the whole point is to give it a more unpredictable feel to the show, and it's definitely achieved that. Can we just get rid of this wildcard rule? Or get rid of the brand split and fire half the roster, because they're clearly not needed.
Yeah, the wildcard rule has been so bad. Like, not only have they completely failed to stick to their 4 per night rule, but the sheer volume of people coming over just means there's no opportunities for other people beneath them. It's nice to hear Kevin Owens kind of say these things, because they reflect the views of a lot of members of the WWE fan base. And while his tone wasn't overly harsh or overly critical, he wasn't exactly going to come on the radio and go, the wildcard rule is awful, I hate it, whoever came up with it is a moron. He's not going to say stuff like that. It's nice to hear him vocalising. He did kind of poke fun about it on air a few weeks ago when he was like, I'm a wildcard, whatever the hell that means, as he tends to do because he's the king of banter. But yeah, it's just kind of nice to hear someone in WWE.
It's a load of bollocks, isn't it?
It's crap, yeah, it's rubbish. Speaking of people who've perhaps had their opportunities diminished by the wildcard rule, Rusev. You may have
remember
noticed,
him?
Yeah, rest in peace. He hasn't been on TV in a while. He was actually at Super Showdown in that Battle Royal, although you probably didn't notice him because that thing was a cluster. And prior to that, he'd only wrestled something like 2 more matches since WrestleMania. He's barely been about. He's had a crap year. He had that pretty boring feud with Shinsuke Nakamura that turned nonsensically into a tag team. They did nothing.
Let's be a tag team after you've injured my wife.
Yeah, cool. Cool. Nothing came of that. And he hasn't been on TV for a while. He hasn't even been working house shows since the middle of May. Well, the real reason behind that, according to Shiggity Shagger Dave in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, is just because he asked for some time off. He just wanted a little break.
Good.
So, while there isn't currently a specific return date for the big man, it is expected that he will be back on TV relatively soon, hopefully with a new sense of purpose.
Yeah, what annoys me about this is I can completely appreciate he wants some time off, and it's arguably far more beneficial than him just showing up and, I don't know, chasing the 24/7 championship.
Yeah.
But when he comes back, I don't know why I'm just talking to WWE right now.
Hi, Vince.
When he comes back, make a big deal of it. He was a killer years ago. He is a fantastic wrestler. He's over like Rover with the crowd. Just make a thing of it, right? Don't just go, oh look, there's Rusev walking about backstage. Make him come back, have an impact, and have something for him because he's brilliant and he deserves so much better.
I think he should come out with that tank from WrestleMania
Yes.
and blow someone up. Just kill someone, why not?
That's what I'm called, making a statement.
Yeah, Michael Cole, eat it.
Right, speaking of people who are slightly disappointed with their
I don't
opportunities.
want Michael Cole dead before you begin.
No, yeah, we're good. Speaking of missed opportunities, KENTA, formerly known as Hideo Itami, of course, has been talking about his time on 205 Live. Of course, he sort of had a very stop-start career in NXT due to injuries and stuff, and then he transitioned to 205 Live, and everyone was quite excited that he could bring some exposure to this brand and really elevate it a little bit, and it didn't really happen for him, and now he's obviously gone off to New Japan and he's going to be competing in the G1, which is bloody brilliant.
Interesting,
but he said he was excited when he made that transition to the Cruiserweight show in November of 2017, but, quote, then things started to deteriorate. He struggled with his character and could never really figure out who Hideo Itami was due to his lack of in-ring activity. Now, he says something next which I'm sure a lot of wrestlers in WWE can relate to. A big issue with WWE was the fact they told him what to do and what not to do during the matches. The 38-year-old said he was defanged on 205 Live and that no good memories come to mind of his time on the Purple brand. Yeah, they did kind of just sort of reduce him down to the most generic wrestler. They obviously said he couldn't do the GTS because of CM Punk. That was a little while before then. But then when he appeared on 205 Live and everyone's like, great, what are we going to see from Hideo Itami? It was just generic wrestler number 3.
Yeah, generic wrestler with a different theme who shouted about respect in the middle of his matches. It was really quite boring. Yeah, it's kind of a shame what happened to him in WWE, but I guess he could never really be KENTA in WWE. In Japan before he joined, and in Ring of Honor as well during his run there, he was this real stiff, hard-hitting, just kind of asshole, really. Like, he would brutalize guys in the ring, and you can't do that in WWE. You can't kick people's chests red raw every single match because it's PG promotion and there are pretty big in-ring restrictions.
You can slap them, i.e. Walter.
You can slap the piss out of them, admittedly. But, like, it just wasn't. I don't think WWE and KENTA was a good fit from day one. I think he always felt a little awkward, even when he was running a heel character. His ring style didn't mesh. He lacked the spoken charisma to really get over in that company. They certainly didn't push or promote him in a way that enhanced his talents. He was injured a lot, obviously. Yeah. And, you know, his 205 Live run, he was there for like a year and a half, believe it or not. That's remarkable. It was really uninspiring.
If you'd have said to me, tell me about Hideo Itami's WWE career, I doubt I would have even mentioned his 205 Live run.
It was just nothing.
Having said all that, if they randomly, out of the blue, just said we're going to get Matt Riddle versus Hideo Itami.
Fun. Big
That's
fun.
the sort of matches he would have wanted to be in part
absolutely.
of.
Here's hoping that he's actually able to turn his career around or go on something of a mini renaissance in the G1 climax. He will have every opportunity to have all kinds of great matches. Let's see if he's still got it.
Cheap plug. Myself and the Dudley Boys discussed the G1 and how KENTA and Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay and all those guys are going to do. Podcast is going to be released on Sunday, so make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from to listen to that.
Good.
Done?
Done.
Davey Boy Smith?
Davey Boy Smith. So, New Japan Pro Wrestling are having a bit of a tiff. It was revealed last week that Davey Boy Smith would no longer be working for New Japan Pro Wrestling. At the time, no reason was given. However, it was thought that creative differences came into it. So, in this week's Wrestling Observer, Dave has something of an update. He says that essentially, Davey Boy Smith Jr. had not been happy in New Japan Pro Wrestling for quite some time, and this came from a lot of small issues and frustration about it not being used particularly well, him and his partner, of course, Lance Archer. There was more to this though. Of course, he wanted to appear at the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony to see the induction of the Hart Foundation, of course. But New Japan were kind of weird about it. They had the G1 Supercard that night, and they didn't give him confirmation that he wouldn't be needed for that show until the very last minute, so that ticked him off a little bit. But there was more as well. So when Dynamite Kid passed away, Davey Boy and Lance Archer, his partner, wanted to do a little tribute spot. They'd do Dynamite Kid's diving headbutt off the top rope and score a pinfall, but New Japan booker Gedo said no to that as well. And here's perhaps the best part of all. He wanted to go and work for Impact Wrestling. He wanted to do some dates. They said no. New Japan said no, citing, and I quote, effing Jeff Jarrett and TNA as the reason, as well as their mishandling of Kazuchika Okada in 2010 and 2011 when he was there on excursion. That is beautifully petty, is it not?
I just love the fact that that's a direct quote. We never get to that. Effing Jeff Jarrett!
Yeah,
they do realise he's with WWE right now, don't they?
Yeah, effing Jeff Jarrett. And like the Okada stuff was literally 9 years ago as well.
I love it. But yes, that pettiness is something we really,
I love it.
Really aspire.
I can't get enough of that crap.
Jeff Jarrett. Love you, Jeff Jarrett.
Good luck to Davey Boy Smith as well in MLW. He signed there for a couple of years, I believe. Very good wrestler. Let's see what he can do.
Right, final news story of the day centres around the Bella twins, because Nikki Bella has recently told The Tonight Show that while she wanted to return and compete for those infamous, prestigious women's tag team titles that are currently held by the Iconics, she wanted to compete with them with her sister Brie, but doctors won't let her because of a cyst on her brain. Bad news there.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks, man, because say what you will about, the Bella twins, like, Nikki really improved throughout her time in the company. She worked extremely hard, and whether you liked her role or not, and we've certainly been critical of them in the past when appropriate, she at least played a role in the women's division and helping it build up and stuff. And I think she still had value as, sort of guest coming in, Brie as well, as, to fill spots like she did at Evolution.
Yeah, I was going to say Evolution,
feud. Stuff like that works. But obviously, if it's better for her health to step away, she should obviously step away and perhaps focus her athletic pursuits on running the hell away from Henry Cejudo.
Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions. Don't forget you can tweet them to us at WhatCulture WWE. We'll start with the first question from Samuel Hollandsworth.
I like that name.
Who says, upon Bray Wyatt's return, do you feel that the best case scenario is that he destroys Shane McMahon?
What?
Hashtag this is good booking.
That'd be tremendous.
I mean, yeah, a lot of people are saying, Aleister Black or Finn Balor, but in terms of getting a pop, returning and just beating the piss out of Shane McMahon.
Shane isn't seen again for 6 months.
Great.
The Fiend is murdered.
Absolutely. He turns up.
Sign me up.
What's that, boys and girls? You want me to kill him? Okay. Right, next question today comes from Hunter Joy. He says, do you think if AEW has one really bad show before their weekly television, that could spell the end for the promotion? Or do you think it's a good model to let their wrestlers main event on the other promotions while under contract?
I don't think one bad show would be the be-all, end-all. I think that trust in what they're trying to do is generally quite high, and I think a lot of people would be very forgiving. I would also hope that the people involved, if they do have a bad show, it might not be the worst thing in the world, because they might be able to learn something from that. As far as letting talent main event smaller shows and work indies and so forth before TV begins, I think it's awesome. I think it's tremendous.
Best thing for wrestling fans.
Oh, 100%. You get to see these guys doing their thing. You get to see Jon Moxley going and beating up Darby Allin in NEW and brawling with Big Cass and Enzo Amore. You get to see these guys sharpen their skills. Guys like the Private Party are making a breakthrough on the indie circuit now as well. Obviously, they were a big deal in House of Glory, but they're now branching out a little bit more. You get to know them before they come to TV. It's a good move all around, and I believe that people who spend time watching these indie matches before TV begins and maybe aren't familiar with these guys are going to be rewarded when it comes.
It's not going to happen, but imagine if Jon Moxley wins the G1 and then returns to AEW. It's all building, they build on top of each other. Then you're encouraging people to go and watch, if they haven't seen it already, his appearance in the G1, and then you've also made him even more prestigious when he's in AEW. I think it's the best thing for everyone.
Wrestling's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good time to be a wrestling fan. Final question today comes from JB, who's got a lovely picture of a dog for his profile page.
Josh Brown, is it?
JBster, apparently. I don't know if that's the name of him or the dog, but anyway. He says, going off the Mount Rushmore of tag team question, who would be in your Mount Rushmore of stables?
Stables.
Now, obviously, there's a few we have to include. Legacy, obviously, first name on the team sheet.
Jesus Christ, Legacy. Should we do one banter one and one serious one?
Yeah. I'll have Legacy.
Is that your banter one? my banter one is obviously the Brood, because Gangrel.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, fun.
Or the Oddities.
What, Gunga?
And then legitimate. I mean, you can't
Golga.
really look further than the Four Horsemen.
Four Horsemen. Yeah, it's just kind of. Yeah, I guess that's the most obvious one, isn't it?
Or the NWO. I mean.
So if we go
Undisputed Era. Jesus, I can't pick.
If we go Legacy.
The Oddities.
The Brood.
The Oddities underneath.
The Oddities as a caveat. Four Horsemen. NWO.
And NWO before it went crap.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Special mention to
NWO.
D-Generation X, who WWE insist are just the same as the NWO and just as powerful.
Social Outcasts.
Yeah, of course. Social Outcast. Oh, Jesus Christ. Titus Worldwide. How have I not mentioned the Titus Worldwide? That's actually just scrap the whole Mount Rushmore and just put Titus Worldwide.
Job Squad as well.
Job Squad.
Beaver Cleavage.
Right, let's move.
Stable, but still.
Let's move on to today's and finally. And I think WWE might have beaten us here. You know, normally we find some at banter. They've just done right, I'm not joking. Go and check this out right now. WWE.com, front page, top story, right? It's obviously a bit of a slow news day because they have like, all right, Tuesday's Raw, Wednesday we have the updates from SmackDown, Thursdays all the updates around NXT and NXT UK, Friday. What can we put on the site on Friday? I'll tell you what, how about superstars looking like a snack? There's a lovely picture of Bailey looking like a chocolate bar.
God.
What else have we got here? Shinsuke Nakamura there.
We can like licorice all sorts.
Jeff Hardy's a lollipop. Go and check it out. I guarantee it'll make your Friday the best thing ever. Right, let us know your thoughts on that and the Mount Rushmore of stables in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And you can send us Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. Well, actually, there, follow both of us. You can follow him at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for humbug, which I look like.
Speaking of humbugs, there's Ray Pacific as well. You can follow me at Adam Wilmot. You can follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. And please join me and Adam Nicholas for the Stomping Grounds live stream on Sunday. Trust me, we'll make it bearable. Thanks, Andy Murray. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.